Hi everyone, this is Mrs. McAllister with a new video. We're going to be starting a unit on portrait drawing, but first we're going to focus on the different features of the face. And you're going to make 3 different drawings, one of an eye, one of a nose, and one of a mouth, using value with really dark shadows, medium shadows, highlights. The first step will of course be drawing the feature itself before shading anything in. So what I do recommend is you can look in a mirror at your own eye, or you can look on your computer or tablet, or you could print out a picture to look at as a reference. All right. If you look online, there's a variety of photos. So you should be able to find something that's a nice close-up of a black and white photo of an eye. All right, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully look at the shape of the eye itself, opening of the eye, I should say. Now, if your photo is bigger than what you're drawing, you can scale it down as you're drawing it. If it's smaller, scale it up. You want to use the width of the page to draw your eye. And you'll see that I'm drawing it very sketchy, but then I can go back and clean it up afterwards. All right, so you want to make sure that you include the tear duct, which is that little triangle that's by your nose, or on the side of your eye that's near your nose. Okay, then you want to include the eyelid. Now, some people's eyelids are bigger than others. And in fact, some eyes you don't see the eyelid. So it really depends on the photo that you are using, or if you're looking at your own eye, how much of your eyelid is visible. And it's usually a little above here. But again, not everyone has a visible eyelid. If you don't, then that's fine. If you do, then I want to see the eyelid drawn. Make sure, again, you're looking at how far up it is above the eye. You don't want to make the eyelid look like an eyebrow either. And we're in fact not even focusing on the eyebrow. We're just doing the eye itself. Also, look at the angle of the eye. Sometimes eyes are angled upward, sometimes they're straight across, sometimes they're downward. All right, so now I have the basic eye shape. So now I'm looking at just the lines under the eye that this particular photo has. Okay. Then I'm going to be putting in the iris. Now, I want to point out the iris circle goes both a little below this eyelid, but you can't see it. It's blocked by it. And a little above this eyelid. Again, you can't see it because it's blocked by it. If you draw an eye where the circle's completely seen for the iris, it's going to look shocked. It's going to look surprised. It's not going to look realistic. So you want to make sure you're drawing your circle where some of it may in fact not be seen, because again, it's blocked by the eyelid. And then you would erase that part of the circle. And again, after you get basic shapes, you can always go back and clean it up. Okay, then the next one would be the iris. So the iris, I'm sorry, not the iris, the pupil. The iris is the colored part of your eye. And I will point out, people that have super dark eyes, you might almost think it's black, but it's not. Everyone's eyes are either brown, blue, gray, green, and then variations within that. Sometimes someone has a little more gold in their eye, but it's not black, all right? everyone has an iris that then, sorry, pupil, I keep saying iris, pupil, that's the black part of the eye. And that's essentially the lens of your eye. And it gets bigger when you're in dark rooms, so it will let in more light so you can see better. It gets smaller when you're in a bright spot like outside, so it won't let in as much light. It protects your eye from letting in too much light and damaging it. So look at that size of the iris in the photo, pupil in the photo. I'm getting my words mixed up still. All right, don't make it too big. If you make it too big, it's gonna look like the person's eye is dilated. If you've ever gotten your eyes dilated before when you've got them checked up, the doctor. Okay. Now, you're going to see more variation in someone who has a lighter eye color as far as these lines. If your eye color is super dark, you're not going to see as much. I have blue eyes, so I found a photo with blue eyes. I'm going to also provide different pictures of eyes in varying colors, but clearly a lighter eye, you can see sort of more of the details. So you would go in then, and you're basically outlining where you're going to be coloring in medium, dark, and light. You also want to make where you're going to see the highlight. So in fact, and obviously it's going to be hard to match the highlight shape exactly, but you will get the idea when you shade it in where the highlights and shadows are. And it's not always, depending on the photo, it's not always going to be in the same spot. Sometimes the highlight or shadow is directly in the pupil. It really depends how the light is shining on the person and reflecting within their eye. All right, and then I'll go back around and continue. And when you shade it, you can always make more adjustments as well. And now, a lot of times the outer edge, no matter what your eye color is a bit darker than the inside part. So I'm going to kind of outline where that would be indicated as well. And then it kind of has an irregular shape to that too. With a darker shadow where the eyelid is. And I'm not really shading anything in yet. Again, I'm more sort of just outlining where these different parts are. And again, as you shade it, then you can make adjustments. Okay. Now you'll also see the eyelashes don't start right on the part of the skin that hits the eye. And this is like that pinkish peach part that's like kind of more shiny looking skin. So I'm going to also outline where that is. And the eyelashes will go below that section. So a lot of this is making the outline and structure of the eye before we start shading. All right, so stay tuned for the next video on doing the eyelashes.